Hi everyone, welcome to White Noise Night Coffee Sessions. I am here today with a very special guest. I always say that, but they're always very special. Her name is Ginger Winn. That is her stage name, and maybe her real name. I guess we'll find out. Hi.
Hi.
So, my first question for you. Who is Ginger Winn?
Ginger Winn is a girl whose real name is Ginger Winn.
Okay, gotcha.
She's Southern, but now she lives in New York. She's a producer, songwriter, musician, I don't know, video editor, because everyone does that these days for social media. They have to.
Mm-hmm.
Artists, both my parents were artists and entrepreneurs, so I feel like that sort of was put into me by both parents. And I just like to make great art that, can help people. That's always a big thing for me, something that nourishes people and is actually, good for people.
Gotcha. Awesome. So I do know a little bit about you, not to sound like weird or like obsessed or anything. I work for a local newspaper and we wrote an article about you. Yeah, the Kingston Wire.
Oh yeah.
So
it's all coming together.
It is, yeah. And I was like looking back on that a bit. I remember reading it when it came out and hearing a bit about your story, your background, how you came here. But why don't you tell the world about how you made your way to Kingston?
So I was born in 1999. So how did I make my way to Kingston? So I am from South Carolina. I spent my entire life there until 2022. Or maybe the end of 2021, somewhere around there. And I flew to Cape Town, South Africa. And for many reasons, I think in a lot of ways, I wanted to start a new life away from everything I knew in South Carolina. And it was always my dream to move abroad, to experience other parts of the country, to travel more than I had in the past. And so I went to Cape Town. My intention was to stay there for a month and a half. And then I ended up staying for 2 years. And while I was there, I didn't have, an income because I was living in Cape Town and I didn't have an online job. Before that, I was working as a pastry chef, which we can go into as well. And so I started a production, songwriting, all things music business online on Upwork, which is a lot like Fiverr. And one of my first clients was a woman named Tina, who wanted me to turn her husband's poems into a song for an anniversary gift. And they liked it. The reference song was Mazzy Star, so I knew I could do a good job because I love that song. I've been playing that song or listening to that song ever since I was, literally 9. And so she loved it. Her husband reached out via email. And I had never seen either of their faces. I had never spoken to them on the phone. A year and a half passes. I'm working with the husband, Matthew, via email. And he's like, you want to make an album? And I'm like, sure. Like, everyone says that. We're going to make an album together. It's going to be great. And he's one of, 30 clients. I was doing this full time, so I was really, working 8 hours a day at this. So I had a lot of clients. But he was always my favorite client. Before any of this happened, and you'll understand more about Matthew as I tell this story. So he was easy to work with. He was very well written. He was a lawyer/poet, which is unique. And then he brings David Barron into the picture, who has produced for the Lumineers. He produced the song All About That Bass by Meghan Trainor. And then I get on a call with Matthew and David. And I'm like, oh, shit. This is real. We are actually making an album. They're actually flying me to New York. and I really need to take this all more serious and figure out what this is all going to mean. And so Matt and Tina, the couple that I was, working with online, they end up creating a record company, giving me a record deal, and flew me to New York. We make an album with David Barron in Boyceville, and that album is Stop Motion, the one that we released June of 2024. And, that was in Boyceville, not too far from Kingston. So I was in the area. My first time in Kingston was March of 2024. I thought it was cool. I was like, cool, it's another town, like, great. And so and then I was going to go back to Cape Town after that, after we recorded the album, and I decided not to. The morning of my flight, 6 o'clock in the morning, I called Tina, who I really didn't know that well, and I was like, I'm going to throw a bomb in your life, and I'm going to stay. My flight's, like, I don't know what to do about my flight. I don't know where I'm going to live, because, like, I couldn't move back in with my mom. I couldn't move back in with my dad. And she, helped me sort all of that out. They basically gave me a room in their house.
Wow.
Like, they have 2 little kids. They called it Ginger's room, and they still call it Ginger's room, which I just think is adorable. And I was living between my sister's house. Tina, was having me in Airbnbs and hotels around here because we were doing a lot of work up here with, interviews and shows and recording sessions and whatnot. And then Carly's mom, the Floods, if anyone's listening to this in Kingston, the Floods are a wonderful family in Kingston. And Carly's mom, I had just met Carly. Carly's mom finds me an apartment in Kingston. She finds an apartment on Facebook, and it's, it's okay. It's 2 bedrooms. There's an extra room for a studio. 8 months had gone by where I was just living around out of a suitcase. I didn't have a closet. I was like, I am so ready to have a closet. That was like my main thing, is my clothes are always wrinkled. It was frustrating. I've hung my clothes up in a shower so many times to get the wrinkles out. And we signed the lease October of 2020 of, last year. I don't know. I might have gotten all those years wrong. I don't know. I'm not the best at years and numbers. But I've been here for a year now. Moved in November of 2024. And that is how I ended up in Kingston.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And now I've met so many amazing people through the Floods. And it's been great.
Yeah, and for any of you who remember, Carly was our feature last month. So that's kind of how we made this connection. I'm really grateful for that. We keep looking over here because Carly's literally sitting right there. Yeah, so thanks for bringing Ginger here. I'm really excited to get the chance to speak to you in person about all this stuff, because it's like when you just like read a story about a person, it's like so like one-dimensional kind of like, unless like it's a really good writer. And I'm not saying like she was a good writer, but like, it's different when you're like really like talking and
100%
breaking it down.
Yeah.
So to move back in time a little bit, you mentioned your job as a pastry chef. I mean, it seems like there's something there. Is there anything you want? I mean, I'm really interested because I used to be a baker as well before I got my current job. Very informal baker, like just worked at a restaurant, and I was like, I'm gonna bake everything now.
Wow.
So tell me what that was like, going from, pastry chef to musician.
So I've always been a musician my entire life. My dad taught me ukulele when I was a baby, and my mom taught me guitar when I was 9, and I've been playing ever since then. Piano, drums. I can play bass, sort of, just, musically inclined. And from like 17 to 20, I started out as a waitress in this little like mom and shop, coffee shop, bistro, cafe in Lake City, South Carolina. Shout out to Baker's Sweets. Jennifer Baker, the owner, was very sweet. She like took me under her wing, and I had some interest as a pastry chef, or, the pastry side of it, because it was cakes. There were, just like a counter of pastries. And I just slowly started to make the pastries more and decorate the cakes, and eventually I was the head pastry chef. And I was that for about 2 years, and I kind of like music sort of slipped into the background for me because, I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, working till 2, exhausted by, 8 o'clock in the evening. And there's no music scene in Lake City. So I was just in Lake City, tired, working this pastry chef job, which I loved. But I don't know, eventually I got to a point where I was like, I love being a pastry chef, but I love being a musician more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to make the call to Jennifer Baker, the owner, who was so sweet to me. And she was like, so you're going to peace out? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. So I put in a 2 months notice because
Wow.
I knew Lake City's so small. I knew it was going to be hard to fit that position.
Yeah.
And so, after that, I had like a year or so of just, learning things online about business and whatnot. And then I went to Cape Town after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what was your experience like living there, in an entirely new culture, around strangers?
Yeah, it was honestly like, everyone's like, did you go on a safari? And I'm like, no. They're like, did you see the mountains? And I'm like, yeah, like once. Like I didn't really do anything while I was there. I was in an apartment. It's, not safe there. I didn't have a car myself. And so I was in this apartment just doing music for 8 hours a day. And like for the first year, I did not have a day off. And I was just doing this. And if I was put in that position again, I don't know if I would have the drive to work that hard.
Yeah.
If I was here with the same goal, because, the reason I was so driven is because I didn't want to move back to South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to stay in South Africa and have that independence. And it was just such a driving force. And it really was I think, a huge reason, as far as why I was able to even start that, from scratch.
Yeah.
Because, online business is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many people out there and you have to be better and do better and be working harder than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And it was exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I met my record label. That's where I developed all these music production skills because I was working for that many hours a day. And to me, it was almost like being in college.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't go to college. I had this time. This was my space, and I was doing that.
Yeah.
And I would 100% not be where I am today if I didn't do that.
Right. Totally. I am curious, so why you chose Cape Town? I mean, it seems like just
A random place in the world.
kind of.
I had met a boy.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
everyone's answer when they hear that. They're like, oh, that makes sense. There's no other reason to go to Cape Town.
No, that's totally valid. And honestly, yeah, I mean, as like a young woman, I think many of us can relate.
Mm-hmm. It was.
We do silly things for men.
Yeah. And I certainly don't regret it, but, here I am back in the U.S.
Yes. And you're better off for it,
Yeah.
It's those risky decisions that are sometimes what make or break a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like as much as it breaks you down, it builds you up, tenfold.
Yeah, it really is. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful for the time there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to get more into your music itself, how would you describe your style to someone who's totally unfamiliar with your music? And how would you say it's developed over the years?
So when I was just getting started, I was co-writing with my mom, who, she's the reason I'm a songwriter. And our music was very dark and almost like Southern rock, sort of old school vibes. Every year for 10 years, we would record an album. And it was just a demo with guitar and vocals, but, it was actually 12 songs per album, so you can calculate how many songs that is. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there were even more. So that was like my introduction to songwriting. So it was very dark Southern, sort of negative sound. Like there wasn't much possibility in it wasn't positive. When you listen to it, and even if I listen to it now, I'm just like, it's just kind of bluesy,
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went to Cape Town, I tried to do more of, it was the first time I was working by myself without my mom. And so I tried to do more of what I something that I had never done before, which is more of a pop happy sound.
Yeah.
So that was my, that was what I was shooting for at that time. And then now that I work with Matt, he's my co-writer for pretty much almost everything that I write now.
Yeah.
And he'll send me a stream of consciousness, and it's usually, occasionally he'll send me a very bad melody idea, which isn't, melody. Is it a melody? Is it? I don't know. And now I feel like I've sort of stop motion. The album we released in 2024 was very pop folk. That's what David Barron called it when he was producing it.
Yeah.
And it was on the happier side. There was definitely darker themes in the album, but it was overall sort of lighthearted almost. And so for Freeze Frame, the album we just released in June, me and Matt used songs that we had written back when I was in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Same with stop motion. All these songs, we were writing so many songs while I was in Cape Town. They were in Jersey. There was just so much time to write. And so most of Freeze Frame is songs from then. There are a few new songs since things have happened. And when we were deciding which songs to go on stop motion and Freeze Frame, we already knew we were going to make, 2 albums at the time. Stop motion was going to be the happier album. Freeze Frame was going to be the darker album. So we already knew we were making Freeze Frame. So then my dad passed in November of last year. So it's been almost a year. And the album was already going to be a dark album. So the sound from Freeze Frame is definitely a darker sound that almost goes back to my original sound as a kid with just sort of rock. And there are some new songs on the album that relate to, losing someone.
Yeah.
But it's funny because there were already songs on the album about losing someone. So it's strange that that's how, it's strange how the timelines lined up because we were already planning on releasing it. So I would say, long story short, folk pop rock.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a story. I'm sorry to hear about your dad as well.
Thank you.
It's really crazy how that happens though with like music and art, how it's like almost like premonitory, like really, it's like we have like a second sense that, obviously we don't even realize we have until it's, this big life event has happened and passed. I don't know why I'm thinking of like Hole's album, like Live Through This, which was released like right when Kurt died, but it's like all of those songs were already written. It's like, it's just kind of weird that things happen like that.
Yeah, and I feel like music, you can read so much into music.
Yeah.
So, because I recorded, I had demos of all the songs for the album. And then once my dad passed in November, then we started re-recording all of them in January. So all the emotions were very, very fresh. And I knew my dad would not want me to stop doing music because he was like one of my biggest supporters. And so, re-recording all these songs, all the vocals and everything, I was just able to put like a new, like a different perspective on everything that was already written.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the music was very, very helpful through getting through something like that.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel like one of the reasons that I have been able to get through it is music and like through a lot in life, because I'll write songs that no one hears and it's like you get it out.
Yeah.
And then once it's out, it's so weird how it doesn't feel the same when you're listening to it in a song. It's almost like it takes away all the heaviness of something or like the gravity or whatever. Like it's almost like when you say something out loud and you're like, okay, that's actually like ridiculous. Like I'm worrying about something for no reason.
Yeah.
But to put it on paper, even maybe if you just journal it out, is so helpful.
Yeah.
So helpful.
Totally. I was literally writing about that this morning.
Really?
Like that exact concept, just like about how, just the act of like doing this, even though it's like tough when you're like, having anxiety or your thoughts are just racing. It's like but I'm doing this still, and I'm getting it out because I know it's important. And in the end, it's like I'm not really much different than I was in the beginning, but I am maybe a little bit more complete in a way, because I can understand myself better.
Yes,
because I'm honest.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is you get like a whole different level of understanding when you write it out.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think there's so much that gets caught up in like the whirlwind of our minds that it's like it really takes like writing it into actualization to sort through a lot of that mess. So yeah, I think that's a super powerful thing. Obviously, I relate. Yeah, that was a great answer.
Thanks.
So I'm curious about who some of your musical heroes and inspirations are. To hear about, your roots and like, how that's changed and developed and also like retained a lot of the same sounds over the years, like who have been some artists that have, stayed with you and helped you through these years.
So both my parents are baby boomers, so they're older than like everyone else's parents my age. So I was like listening to Queen and Led Zeppelin and like music of that time as a child.
Yeah.
And so like as a kid, I remember being in my dad's car and just blasting the Queen album. Like I don't know why he chose that album to play on repeat for me, me and my little brother, but that was a big influence.
Yeah.
And when I was just starting to take music seriously as a career, I was listening to a lot of Fleetwood Mac. And I feel like they're a pretty good example of songs that just sort of sound timeless. Like one of my mom's goal with writing was creating music that's timeless. And so that's always been sort of a goal of mine. And I didn't listen to a lot of music growing up. Like I was very specific with who I listened to. Like Ed Sheeran, his album was a huge influence on me. His first album, just getting started as a writer. And Bruno Mars's Doo-Wops and Hooligans, like that. I just had like a few albums that I listened to. And a lot of them were pop. But then I also had those folk roots like Cat Stevens and the Wailing Ginnies, which is different than Wailin' Jenny. Like there's like two of them, but the one that I'm talking about is the three girls. They're folk. They harmonize. Like they sort of taught me hearing harmonies.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like I was only exposed to so few artists that it sort of created my sound.
Yeah.
And I only got Spotify like a year ago. So I'm just like, there's so much music out there that it's overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
But Matt knows every band on earth. He has such an insane memory with artists and like music knowledge, because he wanted to be, I'm pretty sure if I'm telling the story right, he wanted to be a music business lawyer. And now he's in the music industry, so he just knows so many people, and he's exposed me to a lot of different artists. And Carly also knows so many musicians that are loved by upstate New Yorkers and have sort of those folk roots, which I've really enjoyed. And a lot of my friends that I've met up here, I didn't have friends growing up. I'm not kidding. And so a lot of the new friends that I've met are also showing me new music. And so currently it's almost like I'm being hit with just a tsunami of music. And it's really cool because like I'm getting to hear all this for the first time. And it's definitely influenced my sound, but I think it's hard to change your root sound. Yeah. So it's almost like Samia meets, Queen. Yeah. That's sort of the way I hear music, at least in my head. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I think it's so cool that you mentioned like specifically Queen and Led Zeppelin, because that was like literally, if I would have answered that question, that is like the two bands my dad exposed me to as well growing up.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
How old's your dad?
He's 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine was like 66, I think. So
yeah,
it's a little older than most parents,
Yeah. He was like definitely like a kid when all of this music was coming out, but Led Zeppelin is like his all-time favorite band.
And my dad's too. Led Zeppelin. Specifically.
funny. Yeah, Led Zeppelin also specifically.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he's like also just like, you know, like owns every bootleg of every one of their concerts. Like he was like very diehard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he definitely got me into music heavily growing up. Like, yeah, but this isn't about me.
And then my mom really liked Madonna, so
okay,
you've got that.
Interesting.
You've got that edge too.
Yeah.
And then I've always really admired Taylor Swift's music. I remember when she first came out, like, you know, way back when.
Yeah.
My sister, who's 9 years older than me, she was like, and she knew I wanted to be a musician. She's like, you have to hear this girl. She's just playing guitar. It's just her. She's writing all of her songs herself. And then I remember listening to her music for the first time as a kid and just being like, wow, her songwriting is really good. So I've always really admired her songwriting.
Yeah. There's it's like once you open yourself up to the world of music, it's really endless.
It is.
It's like I'm like, no, I feel like I've like covered it all, and then I'm like, no, not even close.
What's the number of songs released per day on Spotify? It's like insane. There's
oh my god,
so
I don't
much,
even want to know.
It's I should just Google it real quick. For all
Yeah,
the
I'm
people
like
who
kind
don't
of
know.
curious.
There's just how many songs are released on Spotify per day? Because especially with Spotify and home studios, now everyone can technically make and release a song.
Right.
So several recent industry reports suggest that 100,000 new tracks are added every day.
Oh my god.
Across Spotify and other streaming platforms.
Wow.
Older estimates are 40,000, but it's crazy.
Wow, I did not realize it was that much. That's like way more than I thought it would be.
Yeah, so when you think about being in the music industry and trying to, you know, get famous, there's so much music being released, so it just, I don't know, it seems to make more sense to me to just release music that you actually like, and then I'm sure someone will find it. There's so many listeners too.
Yeah, there are. Cool. That was really interesting. I'm still like processing that a little bit.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. So do you consider yourself like a full-time recording artist at this point?
Yes.
Okay, so as a full-time recording artist, what would you say are some of the biggest perks and biggest fallbacks of being in, you know, this career?
So one of the biggest perks, in my opinion, and this is one of the reasons I really enjoyed music, is there's no set schedule. You don't have to wake up to an alarm clock. I really enjoy that. I hate alarm clocks so much. And one of the pitfalls is, you know, also you don't have a set schedule. And so things are constantly changing. Things are thrown at you randomly. When you have plans, like it's hard to make, it's always changing.
Yeah.
And so that can be really fun. And if you're not feeling that good one day, it can be really annoying. So that's one thing. I think another one of the perks is obviously getting to do what you love every day. And, you know, for me, that would be writing songs and making music. And one of the downsides is once you're doing it full time, you can lose the spontaneity and the, like, simplicity of, I'm just going to make a song today.
Yeah. Like there's more pressure.
There is, yeah. And so it can happen. And I feel like one of the ways I'm trying to work with that not happening is just realizing that we're all just here to make music in the end. It's really just about making something that you love. And it's definitely helped me to remember that.
Yeah.
It's still just music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
I like that. It's still just music. So definitely like having a schedule is, it can be nice. It can be not so nice too. So with, you know, all of this and where you're at today and, you know, how far you've come even like in the past year, how do you see your yourself as a musician, as an artist, developing in the next 5-10 years?
So I have been thinking about this a lot recently, and I feel like my long-term goal is to be more at home with the studio and maybe even scoring movies. I'm working on some things in the works now.
Wow.
And just more where I'm home behind my desk making music, and that's like what I'm doing most of the time. You know, music production is where I feel I want to be long term, as well as songwriting. And so, yeah, I feel like I really enjoy doing behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And like, who knows what'll happen with being an artist, because we really don't know how that's gonna pan out with anyone. And so I feel like I'm just sort of, you know, behind the scenes is happening. I'm producing artists now. I have my studio set up. I'm working with 2 artists now, and there's that, and then there's also being an artist. And so I'm just sort of, you know, seeing what happens with both. But my goal is for being at home to be more long term, because you know, in reality, having a family and trying to be a performing artist is, you know, you're not home a lot if you're touring. Yeah. And like, I don't really want to be touring my life away. So, you know, I've been considering that too. But yeah, studio work is my long-term goal.
Yeah. That's really cool that you mentioned doing scores. I think that's one of the coolest ways to be a musician. I think it's like also really underrated. My ex-boyfriend was also a musician, and I was always pushing him to be like, you should just like work on scores. Like that's like kind of, it's like kind of genius when you think about it.
Yeah, it's a different way to be in the music industry.
Yeah.
You know, the pay is better. It's consistent work because there's always movies being made. Yeah. And it's very different than writing a song, which I've learned. I've been working on scoring something now, and it's so much more about feelings than anything. Yeah. Like this sounds so lame. I was watching the Hans Zimmer masterclass about scoring and he was basically saying if it's simple, it doesn't really matter. As long as the feeling is right. Yeah. And so it's been very, very interesting to, for one, go through all the orchestral sounds in Logic where I work, and then, you know, to incorporate that into my music production for songs, which has been really fun. And for 2, just to see how different it is than writing a song. Right. You know, there's no lyrics. Yeah. So you can't get feelings across with lyrics. It's all about the notes and the sounds, and, you know, even trying to decide where to put music in a movie. Yeah. It's just so different. That's the best way to put it.
It's so important too. I'm a huge movie nerd, and I think it can really like make or break a scene. Yes. And some of my favorite, I would say some, or if not all of my favorite movies, I think are my favorite movies in part because of the score. It's like the music has such a heavy importance in the way a movie can be perceived. I mean, just like imagine like if you have, you know, like a score for a movie that's like really heavy, like, you know, like classic, like alternative rock or metal or whatever, and then you take the same movie, but then you put like a classical score behind it. That's a whole different movie.
And it's the same visuals, but just because the music's different.
Yeah, it's so important. Yeah. And I think that really like being able to like master that is like one of the coolest skills ever. Some of my favorite musicians are just composers who've written scores for movies. Do you have any favorite composers yourself?
Of course, Hans Zimmer is my favorite. I mean, just to listen to his scores and just to see the emotion that he's put into it with just the simplest things is beautiful. And it's in working on scoring has really it's the first time that I've seen it's the most motivated I've been to learn more about music theory. Because being a songwriter, like, it's been pretty easy for me to just write songs without music theory because the melody sort of just comes in my head. I'm not really sure how. But with scoring, there's arrangers, and like I can see how if someone knows how to arrange, they can just hit a note and they know what note to hit. And it's like you're just like, oh, like just because of the one note that they hit. So I'm so excited to I'm so excited to learn over the next 10 years or whatever about just music and like how it works, because it's almost like math. There are ways to get to where you want to go.
There are. It is, I think comparing it to math is really on point. It's super technical when you get down to it. I think the two like really go hand in hand, which is why I know I can never be a musician. No, not really, but I think there is like some merit to that, honestly. Like it's just like I don't know, it's like a different way of thinking. Like once you once that clicks for you, I think it really, I imagine that it's like something that doesn't really leave you. Yeah,
I would imagine. I haven't really learned it yet, but I would imagine it's like, when you learn math, it doesn't really leave. Like it's a theory. Like you don't, unless you completely forget it. But it's like you're learning it and then you apply it, and you're just learning theories. And even like the little bit of music theory I've learned, as far as the natural number system, which is chords are numbers, and certain only certain songs have so many chord progressions. Like there's only so many chord progressions you can use in pop music. So many songs use the same ones. Notes, the numbers in the notes, like just that little bit has helped so much with just knowledge. Like instead of having to figure out what this chord needs to be, I know that the fifth chord goes back to the one chord, and it sounds good. So just that like little bit of stuff I've learned has been so helpful. And like, I think when you're really passionate about something and you learn something about it, you're like, wow, like that's so cool.
Yeah, totally. I totally get that.
Yeah.
And that's such a great feeling, like to still have that like lust for, just learning like a new thing. Like I feel like that, like once you like harness that, it's just like, oh my God, it's like, it like brings us back to like, our youth in a way.
Yeah. Because like as a kid, I didn't really learn about music, but it was so fun to just sit on the piano and like be like, whoa, that sounds like that. Like I didn't know it sounded like that. It's fun. It's really fun.
It is fun. So pivoting just a little bit, and coming back to where we are right now, which is Kingston, New York. As a working musician in Kingston, how do you view the musical scene in Kingston, and where do you see it developing in the coming years?
So when I compare it to the music scene in South Carolina, it's like South Carolina, Kingston. Like there's so much music here.
Yeah.
And with the little bit of history I've learned, going back to Woodstock, it's been around since like forever. There's always been an art scene here, artists, and it's really fun to meet someone randomly and they're like, oh yeah, I'm almost a producer, and I'm like, what? Like no way, you're not an engineer? Like that's what I'm used to hearing. And so that's been really fun. If I need a cellist, I know where to find one. If I need a lead guitarist, I know like 3. And so, and everyone is really good. That's another thing, is not that some people are worse than others, but I've just noticed that people here, they seem to take it serious enough to, excel to some degree.
Yeah.
And so they, are all very passionate about what they do. And, for myself as an artist, it's been really fun to be around other people doing the same thing. It's almost like an energy of all these people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And they're all working towards the same goal. And for 2, everyone here in Kingston, artists and musicians alike, are so supportive of each other. not in like a, oh, we all support each other, like superficial way, but they actually, you know, there's communities, there's meetups, there's people just talking about what they're passionate about, and, you know, even something like this, like people helping each other and just working together. And so it's been amazing. And my record label, Keep Good Company Records, Matt and Tina that I've been talking about, you know, we've worked with people in the area, like businesses and, you know, various people that we've needed to work with, and everyone has just been so kind and helpful and supportive, and you know, that leads to everyone working together again, and then you build a community from that. And it's like, I don't know if it would have been so fruitful if we were in another town. Kingston has been, or at least the Hudson Valley, especially Kingston, has been so important to, and it's crazy how I ended up here just on a fluke thing, because Carly Mom's found an apartment on Facebook.
That's really how life works sometimes.
Yeah, it's kismet, whatever the word is they use in what's the book?
That is the right word.
Yeah, it's the right word. I just can't remember. It's the book about the boy who goes on an adventure and follows his path in life. It'll come to me. But Tina and Matt are really read it and are very passionate about it. And The Alchemist, yes, okay. The Alchemist. And then I finally read it, and I'm like, wow, that is how a lot of this is turning out. Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm dating Matt's cousin, so.
That's lovely.
Wouldn't have met him if I hadn't have gone to Cape Town. Like, it's crazy how it all works out.
Yeah, it really, really is. Yeah. So my last question for you, I literally came up with on my run before. Because I just, like, came to me. I was like, this is, like, an interesting question I've never asked in a podcast before. What is one fact about you people would be surprised to know?
One fact that people would be surprised to know. This is a pretty light one. I was born sort of during a hurricane.
Whoa.
And if I was born in a car, I would have died. And I was almost born in a car.
Well, that's a pretty cool fact.
Yeah, Hurricane Floyd, September 1999. My mom and my dad were stuck in evacuation traffic. She goes into labor. First of all, they went to a hospital. They turned her away. They're like, you're not far enough into labor. So they're like, what are we supposed to do? Yeah. So then, I don't know what ends up happening. They leave. Then she goes into labor. They can't get back to the hospital. I think they have to go to a different hospital. And she just happens to not have me in the car. And if she did, I would have died because I had something wrong with me that they had to fix at the hospital. I don't know if they actually fixed it. I'm kidding. And I would have, wouldn't be here. So,
wow.
Yeah, it is nice to be alive.
Hell yeah. I could say that again. Awesome. Well, my very, very last question. Yeah. Do you have any upcoming performances, people... I don't know, like, quotes you want to leave us with?
I do. I guess I didn't know I would be asked a quote. I have this one quote that changed my life. Oh. It's the quote is, and I don't even know if this is a quote. I think it's just a concept that I heard on YouTube somewhere. But the concept is, it's selfish to not be yourself, and it's not good being too nice to people because you're not actually letting someone get to know the real you. And so, as someone who you can almost call, a recovering people pleaser, whose, goal was to be nice to everyone and liked by everyone, when I read that, I was like, weird. So, the goal is for people to get to know me. Like, it was just a strange concept. And so, anytime I'm, like, nervous on stage or nervous for something or uncomfortable, I just remind myself that it's selfish to not be yourself because you're just focusing on what other people think of you instead of giving them, yourself and letting them get to know you. Wow. And so that has really changed my life. And I read that right before I came to the U.S. And I don't know. I'm pretty, I'm sure things would have happened without that quote, but that quote has just really changed how I feel about. Yeah. Like, it's changed how I feel. Yeah. So it's been really nice to have that as a reminder when I'm just feeling like super either, self-conscious or worried or whatnot. Yeah. And then as far as upcoming events, I'm going to name 7 shows that I have coming up, October, November, sort of like a fall tour almost.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all in the Hudson Valley, except for the last one, which is in South Carolina, so that's kind of useless up here. But the first one is October 17th in Hudson at the Park Theater. I'm playing with Ali McGurk, and so that's coming up, very, very soon. The next one is October 19th at the Colony in Woodstock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing with Rachel, Sage, and the Sequins. It's an album release for them. Woo! And Annalise and Ryan is also playing there with us, and that is October 19th. Woodstock is really fun. If you've never been to the Colony, I'm sure everyone who's listened's been to the Colony. But if you've never been, it's such a cool venue. It's very old. It's, awesome. I love it. The sound's great. They have a really good sound tech. October 26th, Saugerties, if anyone's in Saugerties at the local. I'm playing with Carly Pearl and Pamela Laws, Jack Petrozelli, and Will. Brian. I'm so bad with names. I just won't. I'll just say Jack and Will. And I've known him for like a year and a half too. I'm playing with Jack and Will. They're backing everyone at the show, so that's going to be a great sound because it'll be almost like a full band. That's in Saugerties. October 30th, day before Halloween, playing in Hudson at Park Theater again. It's a songwriters in the round, so basically me, Sydney Worthley, Mary Elaine Jenkins, and Keenan O'Meara will, all go through original songs we've written, and it'll be more of an intimate performance instead of, like the big show that, usually happens at an event.
Yeah.
So that's more of an intimate one. That's all my October shows. I have 3 shows in November. 2 of them I'm playing with the Lost Leaders. Byron of the Lumineers, it's his band, so I'm super excited. It was actually his idea to do 2 shows together.
Wow.
I randomly DM'd him, would you like to play a show with me? And then he's like, we should do 2 shows. So I was like, okay.
Wow.
November 15th, I'm playing in Marlborough at the Falcon, which is also a really cool venue. And November 21st, Hudson at Park Theater again. Both are with the Lost Leaders. Those are going to be really fun shows, and Lost Leaders is incredibly talented, so it's going to be great music. And November 26th, South Carolina, I'm playing at my uncle's venue called On Dog Green. He has been doing this venue, rain or shine, every single Wednesday of the year, through the hurricanes, through the rain, in a barn outside. So he's literally insane. He's also a dentist.
Oh my God.
Crazy uncle.
Yeah.
But I got my start playing there. It was one of my first venues when I was like, I think I played on my birthday, and I was like 11, now 12 in one of the songs. So I was 12, and I'll be playing there November 26th, day before Thanksgiving. Those are my shows for October, November.
And where can people find you?
People can find me under The Ginger Winn, Winn, that's how it's spelled. The Ginger Winn on Instagram, TikTok. I'm on YouTube as, Ginger Winn. And Spotify, Ginger Winn. Pretty much anywhere that you can find anybody. It's cool. Ginger Winn.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah,
well,
that's my happenings.
Yeah, thank you for filling us in. Very exciting. And you'll be at White Noise next Friday, October 24th. I am uber excited. And it's going to be a great show, like always, but especially because you're going to be here.
Thanks.
So thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. This is such a cool space. I've never been here before. It feels very, like, what's the opposite of nonchalant? Like, it's very
professional. I don't know.
But like in a good way. It's been nice.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. We try to create a good space here. It's mainly David. I'm just like the, bubbly face. Well, thank you so much, Ginger. And join us October 24th, a Friday at 7 p.m. to hear Ginger play her music and to hear some other people perform some other stuff. That's what an open mic is. Any final words?
If anyone's ever struggling with mental health, run. I don't know what camera to look at.
Yes.
We were just talking about running before the podcast. It's like really helped me with, I don't know, just feeling better about life outlook and whatnot.
Yeah.
Even if you have asthma, you can still run, which has been a huge like eye opener for me. I had no idea I could run. But yeah, just baby steps. It's all about, there's something so strange about the feeling after a run. Running sucks in the beginning, but after a run, it's like you feel so happy. And it's been very, very helpful. So somebody like try it.
Yes, just try it. It never hurts to try. And maybe it will, but you won't regret it.
In the end, you'll feel better.
In the end.
Probably not during if you're just getting started, which is what happened to me. But in the end, it does feel better.
In the end, you'll feel great. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
White Noise signing off.